beyond beer. But now I'm returning with gold and red storm, and I never will play the wild roller no more.
And it's no, they never.
Okay, Sean McGuinness from the Dublin City Ramblers. Welcome to the RMN Podcast. How are you?
I'm great, Rory. Thanks a million. It's great to talk to you. Been a long time coming.
I've been a very long time coming, Sean. And now, if I take you back, like I do with everybody, I like to go back to the beginning of how you got into music in the first place. How did you get into this?
Well, my mother and father. My mother was a fantastic pianist. She graduated from the London College of Music back in her heyday, and she won a scholarship. And my father was an All-Ireland champion dancer.
Oh, wow.
And there was always music and song in the house. And it turns out my sister was a lovely singer and an Irish dancer. My two brothers played instruments. And I was 15, I think, when I got my first banjo, 14 to 15 when I got my first banjo. And at the time, the Dubliners, that was 1963. And the Dubliners had just started kind of in 1962. And so obviously they were the influence, and the Clancys and Tommy Macon, they broke in America, and the Dubliners eventually broke Europe. But we just got interested in the music ourselves to start. We formed a group called the Jolly Tinkers in 1963. Myself, my brother Matt McGuinness, and Pat Cummins, and then a gentleman called Patsy Watchhorn joined. And the only reason we took him in was because he had a car. He was the only one with a car. So
that's a typical
he's a great singer. I'm telling you. But no, he's still going strong. The lads are all still going strong, yeah. I mean, we changed the name. Went on for a couple of years, and then we changed the name to a friend of ours, Noel Ginnity, great comedian here. He suggested changing the name around 1966, probably to the Quare Fellas, after Brendan Beans, the famous playwright, after his play. So we changed that name, and it went great. We were flown over to CBS in London back around 1968. I mean, I think we did 2 albums in one day. The Quare Fellas at Home and the Quare Fellas at Fontale. And they were great sellers at the time, and they're back on the market now, and they're selling for something like 30 or 40 euro here now, you know.
Yeah.
And then in 1969, we all went our own way. Yeah. So we said Patsy Watchhorn formed the Ramblers in 1970. And then 72, we got our first trip to America, 6 weeks in America in the one place. And
so explain it at the time. I mean, when you're the Jolly Tinkers at the time, and you obviously, you know, you've had the Clancy brothers and you've got the Dubliners out there, and you're called the Jolly Tinkers. I mean, at that point in time, was it difficult? Because Ireland, you know, I mean, people say Ireland's like Scotland. In some respects it is, but when it comes to music, I mean, Ireland is, it's synonymous, and there's music everywhere. It's not, I know an awful lot of Irish bands, musicians and artists that, and there's no doubt about it, you have to be pretty persistent to do well in Ireland, because you know, there are so many people at it, and especially in those days. I mean, so the Jolly Tinkers, I mean, was it difficult to get work and gigs and
the 60s, Rory, believe it or not, was actually one of the best times ever for music. Shay Healy, I'm sure you've heard of Shay, that he passed away recently. God be good to him. Great guy, great. He actually wrote the sleeve notes of one of the Quare Fellas albums back in '69, and he used to work for a magazine called Spotlight. It became Starlight, and he did a survey all over Ireland. We travelled and did this survey, and it turns out that in Dublin alone there were 650 ballad acts in 1969. Solo, duets, bands, groups. We were doing 3 gigs a day. We'd meet some bands, we'd be going across town to do another gig, they'd be coming across to do our earlier gig, and vice versa, you know. And there was tons of work, and it was really the boom. Yeah. That's why we kept at it, and just kept. We only started out for fun, but it certainly took off, you know, it really did. And we had no real managers in those days. We just, you kind of got a gig here and a gig there, you know. But it was a great scene for Irish ballads, you know. Now it's kind of, I won't say it's disappeared or disappearing, but there's a lot of Celtic rock coming in. Everybody's, you go to the festivals in America, all the bands are great at what they do, but it's all kind of headbanging stuff and rattling away, you know. There's no real kind of authentic Irish paddle groups.
See, my dad was a big folk singer in Scotland, and he was very famous, and he did a lot of albums with Transatlantic, and he was Nickel, obviously, and so I'm sure you played with Nickel or been in the Bills or whatever at one point in time. And he did the big kind of Scottish thing, you know, where it was all the Scott and him and Hamish Imlach and
Hamish used to play here regularly,
yeah. Well, Hamish crossed over. My dad was big in Scotland and big in sort of right down to maybe, I think it was, what was the big festival? Cambridge. So kind of Scotland down to Cambridge. He did all those kind of gigs, and but he's still at it now, and he's 87, and he's still you know, writing songs.
Good
and doing
for him,
yeah. So what was the first big break then? The first moment for you guys that you would have said, right, okay, I've got a break here. We've got something, wee bit of success. Even if it's local success. What's the first moment?
The first moment, big break we got. Myself and Patsy formed the Ramblers in 1970, and we were kind of drifting along doing gigs in hotels around the country and all. And we had one guy, Brian Malloy, who passed away, used to work with Patsy, but he was getting us a few gigs here and there. And then Pete St. John, the famous Pete, God be good to him. We got a phone call in 1976. We were heading to Nick O'Dwyer, famous Kerry footballer. He had a hotel in Waterville, and the Waterville Hotel. And we were heading down there. Patsy rang me and said, "We've got an invitation to meet up with a guy called Pete St. John," because Pete had lived in America, so he wasn't known at all here, and he spent most of his life in America before that, raising a family. And and it turns out he was actually born around the corner from me. But we met Pete, and he sat on the bonnet, or as I say in America, the hood of his car. And he sang, he said, "I wrote a song with the Dublin City Ramblers in mind, it's for you." And we sat on the bottom of the car, or he did, and he sang the song, and it was Dublin in the Rare Old Times. And we said, we all felt, geez, this is the one, you know. And we recorded it shortly after, and it became a huge hit. Every act in Ireland recorded it, but Pete wrote it for us, and it was on his website later on, all the years later. And we had the honour of singing it at his funeral and stuff, you know. He passed away there last year, the 12th of March last year, you know. But we became great friends after it. Then he wrote The Ferryman for us. But that was the big break. That's the one that got us kind of from £70 a night to a couple of grand, you know.
I mean, it's so strange, isn't it? I mean, you know, as I said prior to the start of this interview, I mean, I did a bit of work with Finbar, and you know, and Finbar is a fabulous songwriter. I mean, he's incredible songwriter, and he would sit down. But, you know, we would go to the concerts, and I was fixing up all these shows and concerts for him. And the songs that you know, irrespective of the Furies and the whole catalogue of that, and all the songs of Finbar, when he sings Sweet 16 or he sings Green Fields of France, the place goes bananas.
And yet,
those are the two songs that he didn't write.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll give you a little story, but I'll give you a story about Finbar. My
Absolutely.
50th birthday was a surprise party in one of the hotels here, and I didn't realize it was on. That was 24 years ago, and the place was packed. My wife's got to be good for she surprised me, and there was a band on the stage that I knew, lads, friends of mine, and eventually halfway through it, Finbar walked in with Sheila, his wife, and he's a lovely, lovely guy. I used to play golf with Finbar and the lads. They're a great bunch of lads. And Finbar walked in, gave me a big hug, and he used to call me brother because I had the big afro as well. It was like a bird's nest, you know. And Finbar walked in and he said, give me your hand. I gave him my hand and he put something in my hand and he said, your real present is coming later. So I looked at my hand and it was one of those Kojak lollipops, you know, wrapped in cellophane paper, a round lollipop. So I went over to my wife and she said, I saw you with Finbar. I said, yeah, you have to give me that as a birthday present. But my real present is coming later. So he got up and he sang a song on the stage with the lads. He was called up and he sang a song about a night ferry. And he said, this is Sean's birthday present and it's going to be number one all over the world. And if Finbar is listening or he ever hears this, that's the last time I heard the song. I never even got the words of it. That's the truth. It's true as God. But he's a great character. Great character.
Finbar. I mean, I'll tell you a quick story with Finn was that my daughter, who's now just turned 13, was just born, and we were doing a big tour, and Finbar came in and he's like, you know, I've got to do this, and so he wrote a song called "Born to Us" for my daughter being born. And
it's for Rory, for Honor and Finbar Jr. and it's called "Born to Us," for all the women of the world who give birth every year of every day. Without them, should we be all lost? It's called "Born to Us." Born to us as sunshine blessed by angels, a perfect light of hope with eyes of innocence, wondrous love and tenderness. I thank you for this tiny bliss. I hear the cry of newborn life, her reaching for the world. I thank you for these feelings you have shown me. For you I know are hearts of all who love me. Wondrous love, tenderness, thank you for this tiny bliss. I hear the cry of newborn life, her reaching for the world.
That'll be him to a T.
You know, and he was full of all these kind of old Irish traditions. But I mean, as you say, I mean, I played many around the golf with Finn now. He's a bit of a bandit.
Some golfer, I'll tell you.
Yeah, a very good golfer. And you know, so we had we you know, with Finn, I think everybody, he's what we call a lovable rogue, you know.
Yeah.
But he's but still lovable nonetheless. No, we all love Finbar.
Yeah, he called me in one day, and we were both invited to a wedding in the Shelbourne Hotel. A true story. And I walked in, and myself and the wife walked in, and there was only Finbar. The wedding party hadn't arrived, and it was people who owned the submarine bar. They were great lads, the Smith brothers, and I walked into the lobby, and there was Finbar with his head in his hand, scratches. And I just said, Finbar, are you okay? And he said, yes, I've just had to come from the studio. He says, I'm after shocking myself, you know, I'm singing, it turned out great. I say, brilliant. And next one I see the wedding party. Come on, I'll play the album for you. I'll play the whole thing for you. I said, we can't. The wedding's coming in. He brought me out to the car. We missed half the wedding, you know. I think the dinner was over and everything by the time the album finished. But no better, man. Nothing fazed him, you know.
Listen, he used to phone me up at like he called me Sham.
Yeah, Sham, yeah.
So I'd be like, Sham, are you awake, Sham? You know, and I'd be like, yeah. It'd be 2:00 in the morning. He said, I've wrote a new song. And he'd start bloody singing it at 2:00 in the morning, you know, and he could sit and go, you know, what do you think? Now that's that one with that verse, but this is the other one with this, you know, and you'd get 5 versions with different verses, you know. And this time it's 3:00 in the morning. We said, that sounds great, Finbar, you know. Can we talk about it in the morning?
And he ended up late for work.
And then you phone him in the morning, he'd be bloody sleeping, you know. But fabulous guy. So you get this big break, this fantastic song.
Yeah.
And so what happens with the song, and what, I mean, do you get a record deal at that point in time?
Yeah. The one company we were recording before that with Paul O'Reilly and all the lads in Dolphin Records, great bunch of lads, great company. And I think nearly all our records were done with them, you know. And we had done 4 or 5 albums, the Guinness Record of Irish Ballads, Volume 1, 2, 3, and 4, and a lot of Nation Once Again, all different albums with them. And then so they immediately rang Paul O'Reilly, and Paul said, "Yeah, we go for this." So we recorded it and became a huge hit, you know. Yeah, and they were very happy to record it. But they're brilliant people to work with, and we're still working. I'm recording with them as we speak. Over the next kind of couple of weeks, we've already done one. They did this 50th album, 50 years, 50 songs, you know.
Oh, amazing.
So there's 50 songs on there. I have to get a couple to you.
Yeah, so this is the album in the background here. This is the Dublin City Ramblers, 50 years in music and 50 songs on the album.
Yeah.
And people, where can people buy that, Sean?
They can get it off Dolphin Records, or they can get it from ourselves at gigs, or they can email us info@dublincityramblers.com, or you can get it in any golden discs here, you know. It will go on national sale later on, but at the moment it's in golden discs here, you know. But people say to me, how did you decide on the 50 songs, you know? And I tell them, we put 50 in a hat. Our manager, Jim McQuillan, he put 50 in a hat, and the record company. And so we're keeping the other 50 for the 100th anniversary.
I thought you were going to say they put 50 in the hat as well, you know. That's incredible. And so I mean, give me an example of what kind of songs are on the album then.
Obviously Dublin in the Rare Times, The Flight of Airs, which was written for us as well by Liam Riley from Bagatelle. Liam passed away, unfortunately, last January, 12 months. And he wrote that Flight of Airs, one of the best emigration songs of all time. You have Whiskey in the Jar, you have The Wild Rover, you have John of Dreams. What we did was I suggested to the record company that, okay, I've kept the Ramblers going for 53 years now. But I mean, it was before I kept it going. The other lads were there as well. We all kept it going. I just happened to be the one who didn't get sense, you know. And so I insisted on putting the other lads on it as well, all the lads that have been in the band down the years. Well, not them all, but most of them, you know. So there's tracks from all the lads that were there, Patsy especially with his special voice, you know. Yeah. And tracks from a lot of different artists who were with us down the years, and who are still are, a couple of them still are. But that was the whole point of the exercise, to just keep it going, let people remember the old days along with the new days, you know. So it's going very well, you know. It's going very well.
But Patsy, he left the Dublin City Ramblers and joined the Dubliners.
The Dubliners in 1995, yeah. Yeah,
isn't that incredible? I mean, because he replaced who was it now? Was it
Paddy Riley?
Yeah.
Paddy replaced. Paddy was kind of a substitute on the dubs all the time. I'm not talking about the football. I'm talking about the singers. You know? So he was called. Paddy joined him for a while and then went back to America, I think. And Patsy was called in. Yeah, and he was with them about 7 years, I think. And he kind of had enough then, and then he had a group called the Dublin Legends. And he kept that. Then he had enough of that, so he's giving it up altogether now, unfortunately, you know. But he's still playing golf and doing his own thing, you know. But we had great times together, great time. We were neighbours as well.
Absolutely. So I mean, what was the first time the Dublin City Ramblers really did their first big moment, big gig, sort of, where it was like, here we go, we're in business. Your first $2,000 gig.
First $2,000. We did a thing, I think it was around, I'm not sure what the year was, but it was in the National Stadium here in Dublin. And we were on our own for the night. We sold it out. It was a series for the whole week. I think it was called Festival Folk. And Johnny McAvoy was on one night, we were on the next, somebody else the next. But we sold out the stadium and it was fantastic to see. At the time, we didn't think we filled it, the sitting room, But we filled the National Stadium. And then we started doing the Cork Opera House, all the big venues around the country. And they were all sold out well in advance. We could have done 2 or 3 nights of them, and that was a great feeling, Yeah. I still treat it as fun. I just love what I do. I mean, if I'm standing at a bus stop and a guy says, give us a song, I'll say, what key do you want it in, I absolutely love the music, Yeah.
And you seem like you've got all the passion in the world still, Sean, and that's that's the magic of music and the magic of and especially folkies. I think folk music, or people from that Celtic folk sort of scene, they it's embedded in them, isn't it? It's really embedded. It never leaves.
It's your nature. It's part of it. It really becomes part of you. And I mean, during the COVID, when the COVID hit here, we were kind of locked down for 2 years, 2 full years. We were in America just as it hit. The 19th, it was the 9th of March, 2019, and we got a phone call. We had we had done a month, and we had another 7 or 8 big festivals to do, and we'd already been paid for the festivals, but we offered money back late. But no, we did them all again over the next, when COVID disappeared. But the travel agent, Lisa Tracy, who was a great friend of mine for 40 years, and she rang me and said, you better get home. And I said, boy, I'm sitting here in a pool in Florida, ready to jump in. And she said, well, you'll be jumping into a different pool of water if you don't get home now. And if she hadn't have told me that, we would have been there for 6 months probably, But during the COVID, I started doing a live stream. I live here on my own. And I said, I must do a live stream. And so I did a live stream one night. And I ended up doing 7 nights a week for 2 years from the kitchen here, just where I'm sitting now with you. And my sister, my sisters-in-laws, my friends, and Ross said, give yourself a break, do 1 or 2 nights. And I couldn't. I was going to bed saying, geez, hold on, I can't sing that song tomorrow night, so I sang it tonight, And I just loved it, absolutely loved it. And I learned a lot of songs that I already knew, but hadn't sang in a long time. So they just, words came back to me. And of course, you get requests from all our great friends, And
I mean, have you got a banjo nearby you?
I have.
Give us a little twinkle.
Give us a banjo over there, please. My techie boss Friday is here with me. And there's a plectrum just there, I think. I hope. Yeah, that's the one. And knock off the heat. We just hit the button underneath the 2 lights. Okay. I haven't played this one in a while. This one I just got repaired.
That's amazing.
Where am I? Something like that.
Amazing. That sounds incredible, Sean. I mean, and so you still got the magic in the fingers then.
Oh, stop. As a banjo player, I'm a great golfer,
I'm going to steal that line. I like that line. I love that line. That's a great line. So I mean, something that would be on the album. Then, I mean, is there something that I mean, because you sing as well, don't you, Sean? So something that would be on the album, just to give that, just a wee short sample, maybe a verse and a chorus.
Yeah, Ferryman, Pete St. John, the one he wrote for us back in '85. Yeah, this was a huge. This still to this day, Rory, when we sing this song at any show, doesn't matter where it is, the audience, young, old, middle-aged, everything, everybody knows the chorus of this song, and they just get up and they sing it, and I let them sing it by themselves at the end, and off they go, you know. But it's about the last. There used to be ferry boats going from the north side of Dublin across the Liffey to the south side, bringing the workers back over and back in the evenings. And around '84, I think they were made redundant. And this song is just about the last guy. Pete St. John was way ahead of his time. Like, he didn't just write songs. He predicted what was happening, really. You know, the rare old times, the new glass cages spring up along the quay, you know. He really was a genius. And he wrote this about the last man on the ferries, wondering what the future held for himself and his wife, you know. So it goes like this anyway. Oh, the little boats are gone from the breast of Anne and Liffey. Ferrymen, they're stranded on the quay. Sure, the Dublin docks are dying, that way of life is gone. And Molly, it was part of you and me. Where the strawberry beds sweep down to the Liffey, you'll kiss away the worries from my brow. I love you well today, I love you more tomorrow. If you ever love me, Molly, love me now. That's the verse.
Amazing, absolutely amazing.
I mean, I'll do them all if you want. It doesn't matter.
No.
I'm game for anything.
I mean, fantastic. I mean, and what a lovely song that is. And
it's a great song. Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful
and
song.
It's so popular. I mean, really, it's one of our main. We sing the rare old times and everybody gets up holding hands, but Pete wrote that one for us with that in mind. You know, the people just love the sentiment in the song, you know.